6:30, so it is. You guys ready? We're all good?
Sure.
All right, it's 6:30. The February 5th Conservation Commission meeting. We can call it to order. I'm going to remind everyone Sharon is going to be taking the notes, so she's new to hearing our voices. So if you want to over-pronunciate your name when you make your motions and all that, that would be helpful to her. So when she captures the notes, we get it right. And moving on, the first order of business, we're going to, anyone here for public comment? Is it all for agenda items? Okay, good. We do not have any public hearings. We have no appointments. So, Renee, if you want to come up and start.
This is Nate.
Hi, Nate.
Hi,
Come
Nate.
up. If I could, if you're going to talk, if you could sign in too, so we get the spelling your name and get that correct.
You just want to make sure the bright green light is on. Just push that button there and make sure. There you go.
No, it's
Now
on
you're
now.
on.
Okay. Nate is with the service provider that we use to maintain the parking lot in the area
Okay.
up there. We just met him. Lives local, so it's
So we
good.
take care of the snow removal over at Home Depot for Renee.
So when I was last here, we talked about amending or changing the verbiage of the use of no salt. I believe that's how it's worded, is no salt. So there's so many different versions of what you can use.
Yeah.
And I am not an expert, so I have reached out to this crew because they are. And I know we talked about like a no sodium, no chloride, no this or less of that. And I guess really, I'm not comfortable saying we should do this specific chemical. I went through, talked to a bunch of different people, and there's all kinds of things that are better, but they are not, it's not a full safe, like it's not, there's nothing that specifically says it is 100%
No,
It's
and
not.
you're not going to find it because even if you get something, like the beet juice, everyone's all excited about the beet juice because it's sugar content.
Right,
Well,
and
great.
it's in here, beet
It's
juice.
sugar. You're
Right.
dumping. Now you're going to be dumping
And you
sugar.
create a different problem.
Right, exactly. So,
These are high in nitrates, too.
yeah, well, I know that's what I'm saying. So there's all sorts of different
And then,
chemicals and all sorts of different compounds, and
Right.
some of them are maybe not as bad as salt for some situation, but they all have their
so
own issues.
what I would like to propose is something like, right now we just use sand, right? If there was some kind of wording that we could change to where we might be able to use a one-time salt application or per storm or a salt sand mix, something like that, at what ratio might be acceptable that we might be able to do?
Do you have the ability to put down brine?
Oh, we
Pri-
do, yes.
Pre-treat with brine.
Yep, we can salt brine. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean it's salt.
It is.
The
Yep.
pre-treat seems to help quite a bit. That's what we do in town. We don't.
Yep.
I went and spoke to DPW, and that's what they're doing now in town is pre-treating with brine, because of the high problem with salt concentrations. And then they go back and they're reapplying when we get, a lot of snow.
Yep.
So
The only tough part about that is lately, the last couple of years, we've had a lot of ice and freezing rain.
Right.
So brine's good for a pre-treat with a snow event, but with a freezing rain event, that's where we're having the big issues there.
yeah.
Because you can't really apply liquid product to the freezing rain. So that's the tough part.
What?
I mean, in a perfect world,
Is salt the only other option?
In a perfect world, for a freezing rain event, basically, pelletized melting product, usually salt.
So like a calcium.
calcium, salt. They're both. I mean,
They're all the same. They all yeah.
in the end, I mean, personally, I think the best plan for that place would be a salt sand mix, like a very minimal salt in that sand, because just a little bit of salt's going to go a long way there. I know the huge issue there is the rear of the building, those drains back there, but everything in the front of the building and on the roads drains towards 101A, and just the back is the main.
Well,
concern.
it drains down into the aquifer, that's all that aquifer whole area. So that's the problem.
That's the problem, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I know the back. I thought the back was more of an issue because those are the separate drains.
I think the only other drains, the drains that are inside the planting area, go to a holding tank.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be
Yeah.
That wouldn't be
Yes,
we would
that's
never
not, that's
use
not,
anything
yeah,
in
that's
there.
not an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah,
but
we would
it's
never.
It's the outside one, ones in the parking lot that drain
Parking
down the
lot,
hill.
yeah.
And then the ones in the back, I don't know.
Yeah, and I went to planning. Is that planning? They don't have any records, and Home Depot hasn't been able to come up with any either, that say where those drains go to. But it almost sounded to me like, from the woman I spoke to today, said that it might not have been required of the plans back then.
At the time, yeah.
So we just don't have, the only thing I found was about the retaining wall, and that has some drain, you can kind of see in the parking lot a little bit of something, but I don't know. I'm no engineer, so
The
I don't-
retaining wall or the detention basin?
the retaining wall in the front of the building.
Oh, okay.
It kind of shows like a culvert and some drains heading underneath. It looks like underneath, but
Right,
it would
that's for underpinning, so you don't, that retaining wall stays there.
No, I know. I'm just saying, well, that's where the drains are, is right up against where the wall is. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was included in that wall, or I have no idea.
Well, the parking lot's supposed to drain to that detention basin on the side, as you're going up the building, as you're going up the driveway to the right.
Right,
You've got
but
that large detention basin right there. That's what's supposed to weed all your parking drainage is supposed to come down through that basin.
okay.
And then, and pre-filter and
I would imagine the back goes there
goes,
as well.
yeah, it's got, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's just nothing that tells us it does. So, yeah.
Well, like yourself, I don't feel comfortable saying this is what you should do.
All right.
As a professional, if that's something you guys can make up a plan of,
Yeah.
a minimized salt
Absolutely,
plan for specific events.
Absolutely, that's,
And then, again, but I'd like to stick with the separating of the salt storage and the sand storage.
Yep.
It can be mixed on site
yep, yep.
and spread
Absolutely.
spread
Yep.
accordingly.
Yep. I think the best thing would be, like I said, the salt brine when it's able to do that, and then so you don't always need salt in a snow event.
Right.
Almost
Like this
just
is
really
like-
just the freezing rain events, because the salt. I mean, when it's a snow event, cover it with sand and it's really safe.
Right.
The freezing rain events have really been getting that's real dangerous.
Yeah. I would be comfortable with getting a plan from them, and that's something I think we'd probably have to go back to the planning board with too, also, because they're going to have something to say. But see if we can get an approval of a minimal salt usage and pre-treatment with brine when necessary type of wording.
They're great.
Is that something that we can accept?
I mean, yeah, right now we're in the predicament of anything is going to be better than what we're doing now.
Right.
So, I mean, we'd even be willing to we could put some parameters around it too if you'd want, say maybe for like 2 years we look at our weather pattern as a 3-year run rate. So we could do like a 3-year, something like that. I don't know what you guys are.
There's test wells up there.
Yeah,
Are they monitored regularly?
there is tests done on them. I don't see that at my level. I see people back there that come in, check in.
It's probably just for everyone's sanity, we should probably find out where those test results are and
See
where
if
they
they
go.
do 'em. I know somebody
Because
comes on
we'd have
site.
we'd have a good baseline of, what, I mean, I don't know what they're testing for. They may not be testing for salt. I don't know what they're testing
I
for.
don't know. But I know that there was when I was downstairs earlier, there's a CD of all the test sites and whatever. But we could probably get somebody, if they're not testing them, if they're just checking them for something else, we could just maybe see if they can.
Is that is there something you can look into there to find out who's recording that?
Yeah.
Because at least that we'd have a baseline, and then if we started applying salts, we could continue to
Okay.
test and find out
Yeah, definitely.
what's going on.
Nope.
I don't think it would be necessary to come back before us, but we can work the plan and get it up through development
Okay.
and the correct channels and get it approved and get it written onto the drawing, and then
All right.
we should be ready to go.
Okay.
So, just for your edification, Nate is the applicator for Home Depot for salt and sand or snow removal. They're going to generate a plan encompassing, pre-treating with brine when necessary, and potentially and mixing on-site salt and sand for certain events to minimize local icing. And then submit that as a plan so we can take that back up through us and through the planning board to see if that's something that we can use to get them a minimal plan usage for. Does that
Sounds good.
sound acceptable?
Yeah, Brian's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, yeah.
So if they're not monitoring those, well, I think they are, but if in the event that they're not, we would just want to get one now, right?
I
Kind of set the tone for that in a year or two.
I'm not sure where those wells are, what they're drilled into. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're concerned about the wells for the neighbors behind you.
And that's
I'm not
where
su-
I believe that they are, because I've seen,
So we probably just need to find out what they're for.
okay.
And if they're being monitored, we can, find out what the results are. And if we start to use salt up there, we can continue the monitoring and make sure that we're not causing a problem.
All right,
All right?
that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to count this as a full day of work. I worked on Monday, right? You all saw me?
That's all right.
I saw you.
It's here on video.
Yeah, video proof.
TV, you're
Oh,
live.
I'll be right. Maybe a short work week.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes.
I look forward to it.
Okay, thank you. Are you in?
Yes.
Congratulations. All right, Charles Morgan,
Good evening.
Storage, good evening.
Attorney Greg Michael, I'm here on behalf of Charles Morgan, 526 DW LLC. With me is Eric Mitchell of Eric Mitchell Associates to discuss an additional building on what was formerly the Zyla auction site. I was before the board a few weeks ago, I believe on January 22nd. We discussed at that time the possibility of parking in front of the main, what was originally the main Zyla building. That has not been before the planning board as yet. I will tell you that the planning staff is now looking at that, as well as the new building as kind of a, how do I put it bluntly, a consolidated development of the parcel. And I've had the occasion to read over Tim Thompson's staff memos regarding both sites. There's a strong likelihood that we will continue those matters that were pending before the planning board tomorrow night, because again, there are some questions that DPW has, that the staff has regarding certain aspects of the site, most of which we can answer. I think there's some misconstruence by the town, but I'm not here to deal with you on that. That's not your purpose. The purpose tonight is that the building, like the parking, is in the aquifer wellhead zone, requiring us to come before the board to have a discussion regarding this particular proposal. It's an 8.353 acre parcel. I know the board is intimately acquainted with it. We all are. It's been there for many years. Mr. Morgan has done well with his storage. It's represented a significant service to the people in the area. He would like to expand, and I believe you've been submitted the 8.5 by 11s of the plan. It's in the north, kind of the northeasterly corner of the site. It meets appropriate setbacks. We're not talking zoning issues here, for additional storage and to move the current detailing facility. It's in the front of kind of the second back building. It's going to be moved over into one of the smaller, what looks like the smaller building or addition in the back. And that would be right, let me just show you here. Right here. Currently that detailing is in the front. You may have seen that that's going to be moved over to this particular area. And this will resume its use for storage. There isn't a whole lot. I mean, we certainly want to, that's why Eric Mitchell's here to take you through this. He's designed the drainage so that it will work with the existing system. He can describe it better than I can. I'll let him do that. There's nothing dramatic about this. I mean, again, the planning board's looking for further evidence regarding parking, and they made some comment about paving areas that weren't known to be paved. We did not put down bituminous paving. It was that crushed up asphalt that was put down. It does drain. It's the same probably as gravel, so I think there's a little bit of a, as they say, misconstruence regarding what was put down in a couple of these areas. We'll be taking that up with the planning board. So rather than have me, kind of drone on, I don't want to do that. Everybody's time is valuable. I think I'd like Eric Mitchell to kind of take you through the drainage of the new building, because that really is what changes it a bit. As I discussed the last time with you, the parking out front doesn't really change anything. The pavement is all there.
Yep.
We weren't changing that. But again, this has become more integrated, and we'll be taking them both up at the same time with the planning board. Eric?
My name is Eric Mitchell from Eric Mitchell Associates. We prepared the plans for 526 DW LLC, Charlie Morgan. We worked on the proposed building in the back. These were the existing buildings which have been converted. And as you can see on your plan now, the 21,000 square feet of extra building is this L-shaped area here. The reason why there's different jogs in the building is these are still going to be used for storage of RVs, boats, trailers, and cars indoors. These will have their doors along here, so we'll be backing in this way. These will be backing in. Here we'll have one door coming in, so this will all be, employees will park different vehicles in here for longer term storage. This area, as Greg has stated, this is for the auto detailing business, which is currently in this front portion. That'll be moved over to here, and they'd come in this way. What we've done on the for drainage, the area is the site's very flat. The soils are very sandy, Windsor sands, and what we proposed is, one is to have a gravel way around the building here for the fire department. We have talked to them, so that's just so they get access to the building, but there's no doors or anything in the back, just so they can get around. Between the edge of the gravel parking way, or the gravel passageway, we have a 5 to 6 foot wide trench that comes around both sides of the building. So it'll be the north side of the building and the east side. That is an infiltration trench. It'll be 6 feet across, 5 feet deep, and have an 18-inch perforated pipe inside. Be 3/4 inch crushed stone that's been cleaned. So the idea is to have all the roofs and everything coming off the building go down into the ground and keep on going. So it's not a detention pond, it's actually an infiltration trench for that to go in. We'd have some basins in here with drop inlets so the water can go down in there. What doesn't go through the surface of the ground can go down through the drop inlets to get in. We also have 2 catch basins, one here and one here, which will be in the pavement. Those would take any pavement from any water from the pavement here and bring it down towards the street. Both of these 2 catch basins will have oil and gas separators in them to take up for that. This current area, this is the entrance right down through here. This is currently paved up through here. So most of the area we have here is currently, it's unpaved. It's not grass doesn't grow well because it's all, sand and gravel, but it's still open. So the proposal is to have this building here, and it is separate and aside from the storage of cars here, but as Greg has indicated, the board might want to look at the two together. The main reason why they're done separately, car storage is something that came up first. That was something they're looking to do currently, or be out there, before the winter, but now the winter's close to getting over. The building here requires a modification of our alteration train permit that we got to do the work back here, and so that could take 2 or 3 months at the state just to be there. So the parking of the storage of the cars out front here, we didn't want to delay that for 3 or 4 months while AOT is either looking at the plans or waiting to look at the plans. But as it's turned out, they both have come up at the same time at the planning board for tomorrow night. And as Greg has indicated, we're probably going to ask for continuance so we can look at those together to go through staff reports. As far as the work out front that the commission already saw a couple weeks ago, the staff report on that recommends conditional approval. But one thing that Public Works had talked about was the driveway which comes along the edge of pavement on our site here. They've asked that to be placed inside the right-of-way. So we're not sure how that's going to work. We need more time to work that out with them. So that's the reason why that's being continued, and we'll be able to work out the two together between the proposed building. But this is what we're here for tonight, is the distance here. This line is about the approximate difference between the Wellhead Protection District, which is down this way, and this part up here is in the regular aquifer district. So the same type of use as what we currently is going on site, and our drainage is our 2, 10, and 90% of the 25-year storm is all going down in the ground, and the balance of anything else that goes on the surface still is less runoff than what there is today. So we've managed to have no increase in runoff. The vast majority of our water is going to go back right into the ground, as opposed to have a detention pond like out back. There's a detention pond in through here. None of that's necessary.
Thanks, Eric.
And also on the plan, notes that we had before. Note number 16. It's the same as what we had before, that this commission needs to be notified before any clearing or earthwork. There's really not much clearing to do, but I think that's a requirement. Number 19 is that the New Hampshire Green Snow Pro certified contractor has to be used on site. That note is there. And number 20, it talks about only low phosphate release nitrogen fertilizers on site and the testing to see what needs to be done for those. Snow is also, the storage of snow has to be in snow storage areas, and no snow can be brought on site that has de-icing chemicals in it. And if you have more standard notes or those need to be revised, we can revise those for you.
Thank you for including those.
Excess water runs under the street?
Currently it does, yes.
Yeah. And that will continue,
Yes,
utilizing the same structures that's already in place?
it'll be the same structure, yes.
Those catch basins are existing, those 2 catch basins?
No, they're not. Those are
So
proposed.
those will be added.
Those will be added.
Okay, and then run to the existing. Are there any floor drains in the building?
No,
It's all slab?
yes.
Good.
If you need a note to that effect, we can put one down.
No, just.
We understand the
if they're
concern.
not, if it's not in the building, then it's,
Okay.
that's the important part. So if they're detailing cars, where are they gonna be, they physically washing them? Is that gonna be done?
All the work that you do currently right now is inside this part of the building here.
Yeah.
2 bays, and they're gonna just move over to here to be these 2 bays over here. I don't know how much washing is really done. It's not a car wash,
Yeah.
and it's not a paint shop. They clean and put on decals and maybe they hand do certain things, but it's not a automotive, certainly no automotive repair, and it's not a paint shop either.
Seemed pretty straightforward to me.
Seems pretty straightforward. It's not really a whole lot of,
You've cut all the notes.
yeah.
So I take it it's that drive behind the building that's caused some questioning, whether that's truly asphalt or
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
The reground.
crumble,
Reground.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks, from an aerial photo,
Yeah.
it would look paved. It's not.
It's the same.
We're going to take that up with them,
Yeah.
but,
recycled asphalt?
yeah, it's that recycled asphalt.
What we put down
that's,
in the West Hill parking lot.
Yeah.
And it does drain a bit more. I mean, it's about the same as gravel. I talked to Eric about it before the meeting, and he said hard packed gravel and this are about equivalent in terms of drainage and runoff.
And I don't know if that in itself is a concern. When reading some of the comments that came back to us, the review comments, one said that the as-built plan says it's gravel, but we know it to be pavement. So it's not that it wasn't, as far as I understand, that it wasn't meant to be paved going out. We had just put gravel because it's not hot bituminous. It's not put down like a driveway or a road would be. So we'll clarify that with them. I don't consider that to be a big issue. It's the material is okay, and it's not erodible, but I don't think that is a big issue. It was more of a comment that it says gravel and they know it's black.
Yeah, we've utilized that in some of our own areas, parking lots and stuff, so.
It's used.
Yep.
Yep.
It's actually a pretty good reuse of the material, so.
Plus, it's fun to say, bituminous.
Could you speak a little bit to the maintenance activities of the catch basins, the oil and water separators? I mean, what kind of maintenance do they require? And
I don't know whether the last sheet in your set
Yep.
addresses those. That as
yeah, it's got some notes in here about the maintenance requirements. I just would, you would mind just kind of making it. Everyone can't really read from here, so.
Yep, okay. Well, I think the specifics is, unless it's stated here, they're going to have to be looked at on a routine basis. What is normally put in there, they have manifolds that come up that if the water goes down, the oil stays up top. You know, that helps get the water out. But they also have what they call diapers that go in there to soak up the oil, and that's what has to be looked at on a regular basis to make sure if there was anything that came in there that gets replaced and put back in again. But I don't have a definitive time frame of how often, whether it's once a month or not. But it's pretty much checking to make sure that the diaper in there is not full and can't take on more. That it's not anticipated to have any gas or oil in there, but in case something happens to somebody's car as they're driving through or they break a line or something like that, it's where the water would go.
I would point out, Mr. Morgan's very sensitive to this issue. We do other work for him in Manchester and other cities, and he's been working out a waste issue on his Manchester building that he did not start. This is one of those things that has been around, and I will tell you that he's extraordinarily sensitive about this. It's been very costly. It's very problematic. So when I've spoken to him about this type of thing, he wants to be on top of it. I want to emphasize that to this board. He wants to be. It's still his land. You know, sometimes we forget when a problem like this occurs, the biggest problem is for the landowner. I know that the town is certainly
Right.
incidentally involved, and certainly we don't want problems like this. But just remember, the landowner is the biggest, the person who's hurt the most when these things arise. So he's very sensitive to this, and I want to point that out. I don't think we're going to have any issues as far as checking the separators, checking the sponges or the absorption materials, because again, he wants to make it work. I don't think there's going to be that big of an issue anyway, but I understand the board's sensitivity towards it. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, I didn't do this, I didn't really have a whole lot of questions, it was pretty straightforward. That was my only concern, was the drains in the floor. So, anyone else have any questions? Anything else, comments?
The only thing that I circled was low phosphate versus no phosphate, so if you're happy with low phosphate, then I have no questions.
I believe that was the original note that was on there to begin with. And there was no planting plans, not really a lot of planting plans. There's just some of the driveway out along the edge of that drive. There's a couple plants shown.
There are currently some trees in that
Yeah.
lot anyways, that section of the
Right.
lot anyways,
Yeah.
so.
So, we're just gonna leave it be.
Anything else we can answer for you?
And you gentlemen, you're going for this tomorrow night?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be there tomorrow night. I've got another matter before the board, and I'm going to be requesting this be delayed, very likely till the end of March, first part of April. I'm telling you what I'm going to do right now and make that request to a date certain so that we want to be able to address the concerns. We've done most of this, but we want to make sure that the staff is comfortable, DPW is comfortable, so that we can progress in a logical way when we get before the board. So it's going to be delayed.
Okay.
So you don't have to necessarily rush your letter for tomorrow night. You can if you want, but I thought I'd mention that to be a little bit gracious about it.
We
No.
can certainly put,
Yeah.
we can send more than one, so we can certainly
Yeah,
send something that says,
I
you take it
understand.
for us, and we've,
Whatever you like, but
Okay.
no, there's not going to be any rush for tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, I know we're here and I know the meeting's tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anybody got any bets when the sap's gonna start going? Having a lot of teasing.
Getting some sunny days.
I know they're talking snow on Wednesday.
And then mid-40s again on the weekend.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Locked and loaded again.
It's too much sugar.
Candy girl.
All right. Tech New Hampshire, Tech NH applicant. Do you wanna?
Good evening, folks. My name is Brent Cole with Keach Nordstrom Associates. I'm here tonight representing Tech New Hampshire. Tech New Hampshire is a plastic injection molding company that specializes in medical supplies. The company began in 1982. They quickly moved to Merrimack, where they've been flourishing here for the last 30 years. They're located at 8 and 10 Continental Boulevard. 8 Continental Boulevard is where they have engineers, research, sales, and 10 Continental Boulevard is the subject of tonight, and this is where their storage warehouse is. The project that's in front of you is an expansion of the storage warehouse because they are simply out of space. We plan to construct an 11,200 square foot addition to the west side of the building and through here. The addition will take the place of an existing travel lane as well as an existing parking lot. We will relocate that travel lane around the building, but we will not be constructing the parking spaces. This parcel is within the industrial zoning district, and it's also within the overlay districts of the wetland, the flood hazard, and the aquifer. hence why we're here tonight. The wetlands that are on the site are from the Naticook Brook, and they are up towards the north. There is a steep area from the edge of this pavement down towards the wetland, but we will be impacting no steep areas or any areas within that wetland. The project is only adding an additional 10,000 square feet of pavement. That pavement, along with the addition, is going towards a infiltration pond that we're able to fit in this area. That infiltration pond takes in 17,000 square feet. It discharges everything all the way up to the 50-year storm. We do not discharge anything through the 50-year storm over the steep slopes. Everything is groundwater recharge. That pond also helps reduce any peak flows on site, so all the storm water leaving the site will be reduced from where it is today. We have proper erosion control around the entire site, and we are looking for your recommendation for the planning board. That planning board meeting is tomorrow, and we hope to get approval then, but we'll see. Take any questions?
You've been here before and you listened because I see all straw stuff.
Yep.
Look, I
Make
mean,
note.
smiley faces all over straw. It's like the only thing that I'm really good at is finding the word hay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm having trouble figuring out just where this building is. Where is that,
Jackie, do you have the somewhere you should have a shot of the.
Thank you very
Yep.
much. Okay. I don't know.
Are you thinking about KinderCare?
Yeah,
KinderCare is over here. So the east,
the building's down.
like 5 or 6, I think.
Oh, 5 or 6, okay.
Yeah, so it's a little further down.
Be right. It's off Peachtree, isn't it? So that would be KinderCare right about there?
Yep.
Okay.
So maybe it's only a few.
Okay.
So they're in there.
Nope, we're
No.
actually across the street.
Right
Those
there?
two black, yeah, two
Okay.
dark areas.
Oh, okay.
You said there's a retention pond?
Yep. I
Where's
was
that?
able to squeeze a retention pond in through here. It's long and skinny, but it does the job.
Huh. Like a lap
On
pool.
sheet
Yep.
4 of 9.
Sheet 4. It runs right up the side of the driveway.
So that detention pond is picking up roof drains.
It
Correct.
is. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, we thought it was important to try to reduce all flows going over those steep areas. The stormwater that discharges to that area today is the area that receives the stormwater is stable, but we didn't want to send anything to a new area.
Where does the existing roof? Is that existing roof going to be going to that detention pond now too?
Nope, the existing roof ties into the city system within the road, we believe. There's an 8-inch that goes to what the catch basin here.
Yep.
We believe that's the roof leader. If you look, there's no scuppers or anything. There's no downspouts, so it has to go somewhere. It comes from that direction. The
Yeah.
roof leader comes from that direction, so we just don't know officially.
The back of the building, the back of the parking lot, looks like that little, I don't know what you'd call it.
It's called like a sluice way, I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This little area in through here.
Right, and that's the lowest part of the parking lot. So right now, parking lot is draining down that. Is it riprap down the hill? What?
So if you were to look at it, it's not riprap, but you can see that it's stabilized over time. So 30 years ago, it might have wiped out some of the fines, but right now it's bigger rocks, boulders that haven't been washed away. It's not eroding. Yeah, surprisingly, it is taking that parking area. It is stable, and we're reducing the amount of flow that's going to that area. Because right now it's taking most of the drive that comes through here. And we're taking all of this and discharging it to the infiltration basin.
And that's your shipping, receiving.
Shipping, receiving, storage, yeah.
So they do injection, this new space is gonna be doing injection molding?
Nope, this new space will just be specifically warehouse. All the injection molding, all the manufacturing, stuff like that is done on their other parcel.
Okay.
This is just an expansion of the storage. They're just out of storage space.
What is stored in there?
They have, so they create the products, and then before the products get shipped out, they have to store so that they can make more products.
So there's no raw materials, no chemicals or anything like that stored in there, it's all finished
No,
product?
I don't believe so. I don't know that specifically if there's any chemicals or not, but I don't know actually.
Okay. Is this a slab on grade building?
Yes.
So there's no roof, there's no floor drains or
I don't believe, not on the addition, no.
not in the addition?
Are you guys, are you anti-floor drain? I heard you brought it up to the last, I just didn't know. This is on town, city sewer, or town sewer, so.
Yeah, it's floor drains, especially over time, like the second owner, extra stuff tends to go down the floor drain.
Gotcha.
And it's not proven itself to be an effective method for us in the past. Yeah, so echoing Gina's comments, I did see here in the notes, you've made a lot of comments about fertilizers and straw, native plantings, and they do, the wildlife usually looking for invasive species, so we appreciate the consideration.
The only thing though is your notes on sheet 9 of 9 say slow release, but they should say slow release nitrogen fertilizer.
Slow release.
The word nitrogen is missing.
Gotcha.
And that shows up on, in 2 places.
So slow release nitrogen.
Look, nitrogen fertilizer, yes.
I'll make sure I get it right on the next project.
Was it note 5 and 2?
Yeah, note 5, under preparation and execution of turf establishment schedule, and then under materials, note 2.
Thank you.
Note 3.
3, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, 3.
Similar to the last project, it was pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah.
I like your catch, Matt, about the sluice way, but
Yeah, I'm just all that.
yeah.
Whatever's coming off the highway is going down there into the brook.
Yep.
But that's
That's not a no-salt zone, is it? I mean, I thought the no-salt zone was further down.
no, but that's going
It's
into
just
Horseshoe
drain.
Pond.
It's going to Natticook and then down to Horseshoe.
Down this grade.
Yeah, and then eventually into the Merrimack River.
I was gonna say, because there's one part of Continental that it's always icy. That's the no-salt zone.
Mhm.
I did the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, but that's saltwater anyways. Well, I don't know if it's really, I don't really say much about that sluice way. I mean, it's
It's an existing.
an
yeah.
existing,
Yeah, that's how they did it 50 years ago
all right.
when that parking lot was first paved. Do you know when the original building was built?
They moved here in 1984, I believe. So before then, the 80s, 70s. This whole industrial park was fairly built up. I think that's what caused the steep slopes down there. I think this whole area was built in fill, and all these buildings were put in
They
right around the same time.
they go back to the 70s, yeah.
That's not natural slope.
No, it's too uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too sandy.
Yep.
And you said you tomorrow night you're going in front of the planning board.
Yep, we are.
Okay. Well, we only have obviously those few comments that we've spoken about there, so we'll get a letter together and get that up to them for your meeting tomorrow.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are you giggling about
Guy,
over there?
Sharon wrote me a note and
Oh.
I did it again. Just laughing at her because she's right.
Do you guys like having your meetings the day before the planning board?
No. No, not really.
I'm on the Manchester Conservation Commission, they do it the same way, Wednesday before and Thursday. But for me, it's nice because I get to prepare for you as well as prepare for planning board the next day. To understand your issue with time.
That's unusual. It doesn't usually fall that close together. Usually there's
Yeah.
a week or so
Right.
time, so.
So you're on both ends then? You see it from both sides then? Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting.
It's also good.
All right. All right, new business. The survey of the Ireland parcel, which we refer to as Fields Farm. So I sent you guys, sent that letter out to you when we got it. I don't know if anyone had a chance to read it.
Oh, I missed that.
Do you want to, you've been involved in this, do you want to speak to this? You have seen Sharon's notes on it?
I don't have the notes on with me, so.
Those are the notes that we got on the,
Thanks, bye-bye.
Thanks.
goes on to the next page too, so on the back.
Yeah. So essentially, we're not talking about a full survey. It's a compiled base plan instead, which I was hoping we'd have an example of.
I did not get one.
Yeah.
I asked for it and we didn't really get the two copies, so.
Okay. So a compiled base plan content is the boundary per GPS locations of the abutting record plan and deed evidence with the road and the river, topographic contours and planimetric detail per the town GIS and other appropriate sources, so you have an idea of what the contours and things look like. Would be suitable for general planning, concepts, and preliminary design, and then specific uses would require more concentrated follow-up field work. So, for that activity to be done by Meridian, who does a lot of work for the town in that way, it's about $3,500. Contrasting that to a full boundary and topographic plan, which could run more than $30,000.
Wow.
So right now, Don, the town engineer, recommends the first option, but it also is stated that they don't have funds in their budget to cover that until the next fiscal year, which is the June-July crossover. So they'd be looking for us to cover the cost and then seek a partial reimbursement, right?
So I understand it, yes.
Yeah. So we would be partially reimbursed afterwards, since we do have funds available to us.
And this is a project that we were, talking about going in on with DPW with DPW and as a kind of a joint, a little bit of a joint project.
Like a
together.
50-50 thing?
So
Something like that.
yeah, so because we've been talking about doing a canoe or a kayak put out spot on that property to augment or replace the one that's at Severn's Bridge right now, which is just upriver of that spot. Of course, we'd have to find a location in order to do that, which is hence why we need to do something to get an idea of what the topography is like and what the slopes are like, so we could try and figure out where's the best place on the Infields farm in order to run an access road and have the available parking, and then be at a spot where you could take kayaks and canoes out relatively easily. So, and then of course, if we wanted to have a kiosk and picnic tables and other, passive recreation things, we could look at that too. The parcel was deeded to us for passive recreation only, so it's not a motorized place. So.
And making a decision on this too does not limit us from going back later and doing something more in depth. I mean, this is just, instead of spending $30,000, we can spend $3,500. We'll get a very good idea of what's there, and if there's any areas of interest or areas of concern, we can go back and do a little bit more of a deep dive in those specific areas.
So I think for our planning purposes, it's a great, it's a good thing we should look at. I have been through what we have for records of the property, and we have nothing of any kind of detail like this. So all we have is what's in the various GIS systems that we can access, whether that be NRPC or the town's GIS system. So, which gives you some idea, but what I don't think we'll get here, though, is all the different stone walls and other things that are out there, because there's quite a few stone walls that traverse that parcel, because it was owned by different families and at different points in time. So,
So you don't think that this abbreviated survey will get all the stone walls?
Unless they've been, we will if they've been captured in a GIS or some other format first. Then they'll just lay them right in.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yep.
But there won't be anyone actually going out doing field work. So don't expect anyone on the ground doing field work. They're going to utilize already known resources and just pull it all together and give us one document, whereas you'd have to go to 5 different repositories to pull it all together if you wanted to do it yourself.
So the boundaries wouldn't even be marked?
No.
Are they clear now?
No.
So the boundaries that abut the new development are well marked, because that was recently done within the last couple of years.
Is the river the boundary on one side?
It is, and the Amherst Road's the boundary on the other. So the other boundary that you have is owned by Mark Taylor, is it? I forget.
Newmark Logging.
Yeah.
He's been here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And there's also another property owner on Amherst Road
correct.
that I can't find anything there.
Yeah. So I haven't looked for that one to see what's documented to find. So
If we have, particularly where the new where it meets up with the new development, if those have pins and markers, I'm assuming, then the distances are, and we should know what the distances are. They should be on the deed.
Yep.
So I understand your point, but I mean, if we really want to go make the markers, we can go walk them off and say that's it.
Good luck walking off
Well,
there.
you know what I mean. I mean, you can go through and get pretty good distances off of, with telemetry data. So that might be something, an extra that we ask for in this. It's like, we'd like to at least have, using the existing existing good markers, try to pinpoint.
So I think the property to the west, the Newmark, is fairly well delineated, because I think it's a stone
Stream.
wall.
And a stream.
Well, there is a stone wall that separates the two parcels, and there is water that goes down. There's numerous streams that come down through there, so it's not just one. There's quite a few of them. So
To have those there are only 2 neighbors, so to speak, that these boundaries are, but I think now that we're going to use the property,
Right.
especially if we're going to put a canoe launch in there, it would be nice to have markers along those boundaries. So maybe, that's something else we asked for. I think it makes sense to do that, even though it's only 2 neighbors.
Like I said, it's obviously bounded by the Merrimack River and Amherst Road, so it would just be that one track, right?
Yeah, just
Well, from Amherst Road to the Merrimack River,
Sahegan River.
Sauhegan River. Thank you. We'd be in trouble if the Merrimack came all the way over, wouldn't we? But it's just that one boundary, right?
and the back of the
Oh,
other neighbor
right.
that's on. Yeah.
On Amherst Road.
How close is this to the bridge? And it's
Uh,
on the north side of the bridge, is it not?
Well, it's
North.
certainly, well, it's the east side of the bridge.
And the east,
Yeah.
northeast, okay.
It's
Um,
probably it's probably
3 or 4
quarter-
properties.
probably a quarter mile from the bridge.
As the water goes,
Yeah, both ways, yeah, the
Yeah.
water and road.
water
So-
on road, oh, okay. Okay, because I'm having trouble, I've never been back in there.
It's not an easy place just to go walk.
No, I know. I went to a gathering there last year, but, so I guess I kind of know one of the property owners, but, but I didn't explore much. At what point, or if any, are abutters notified that a parcel that's next to them is being discussed? Is there a notification process?
Well,
They can tune in their television.
if you're doing an improvement on the parcel, like a building or something like that,
Yeah.
there's the whole planning process that
Yeah,
has to happen.
yeah.
Right. In this case, I'm not sure. So we just at our last meeting, decided to create a subcommittee for this parcel, which will give it some publicity and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, because there are so many methods of communication these days. I wonder if we've gone backwards rather than forwards. It's hard to know what comes on some people as a complete surprise. It's amazing, really.
Yeah, so when we've done major work on other conservation parcels, we've done door-to-door at times, like around Wildcat Falls, before any logging happened out there was door-to-door and letters provided. I believe on some other projects, once we got down to what we wanted to do, then we did that sort of outreach, you might say.
Yep.
So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do some outreach when we got closer to figuring out what we could do and wanted to do.
Yes.
Because right now we have a concept, and that's all we have. We
Yes.
don't even know if the land supports the idea. So,
Right.
So,
Probably at the point of like cutting our access road, and that would be the point if it came to that for a canoe launch.
yeah. Because when we've done other projects and we've done public hearings, so we'll put out a notice that says, hey, we're going to discuss it at our meeting. It's a public hearing. Come on in and let us know what's going on, what you think as well. So.
Exactly.
But we've done direct outreach that way, either by knocking on a door or delivering a letter. So,
Well, that's good. Because I'm sure that a lot of these property owners could give us valuable input. For one thing, they might know some odd thing that we don't know,
yeah.
or have that opinion that's going to come up and bite us someday, whether or not.
Well, what we're talking about is not necessarily mean that we're moving forward with anything. It's more just to get an idea of what that parcel is. It's the physical structure. So, well, we could ask Dawn, what, this is obviously an estimate. We can ask her to get an estimate from Meridian as to, what it would take to mark that boundary.
Are you more concerned about the split-level home parcel, or both that and?
More about the split of the home.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that neighbor has not had anybody in his backyard for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that, and we already have two sides, the road and the river, might as well do the other side.
Well, absolutely, that's what I'm saying, but I mean,
And the third's going to be really easy to find, I would imagine. But when I was digging around down there, I couldn't find a thing. And depends on how old the parcel is. There might not be any.
it might, yeah, right. It could have been a stone and post. So it's just a piece of wood. You're looking for a little ring of rocks. That who knows?
And when he was here, talking about cutting some trees that were
Yep.
on that property line, he didn't know where the property line is.
Right.
Now that's somebody that's been a neighbor to that property for a long, long time. Doesn't know where the line is
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm guessing
Nobody does.
there isn't too much out there in the but to have that marked appropriately, I think benefits everybody.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to separate this then? And because this is,
Yeah,
not tie it to
So
this.
one thing doesn't slow down the other.
Right, not tie it to this, but that's something we can pursue on our own.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Well, I guess the question is do we want to fund, initially, want to fund this completely?
For $3,500?
There's a time and material estimate for $35.75, yes.
Okay. You want me to make a
And-
motion?
Well, yes, in just a moment. So, and the understanding is that come July, are we going to say we want to be refunded that money, or are we looking to refund a portion of that money from the town? What are we looking for?
What was their level of interest? What was Don's level of interest in having this done?
I can't answer that.
So our involvement with Public Works came about because of the canoe launch that's currently at Severance Bridge. Public Works would like to see that eliminated.
I would.
Yeah.
Because there's a number of issues with it.
Yeah.
In fact, there's money in the capital improvement plan to do some final fixes down there, and if they could eliminate that, knowing that there'd be an alternative location, they believe that would be the better approach. Now, that's had some some opposition from members of the Sauhegan River Watershed Committee. They want to keep that and have the new one. Okay, so but that's not. I'm not sure that's all members involved. So the town is already planned capital improvement money to do some more improvements down there, and they're willing to utilize some of those funds to help fund the alternative approach. Because I think in the long run it'd be cheaper for the town if we moved it. So, but there's quite an expense to put in a new one. So we would have to look at other opportunities to get money to put in a new one. It's certainly not covered by the capital improvement plan money. So because of all that interest, that's how they got involved. So I don't think it would be inappropriate for us to ask for at least half the money back, because it benefits both.
Because why?
Because it benefits both. Our desires as the Conservation Commission to do something to encourage people to utilize a property that is owned by the town and was donated for recreational purposes, and this is, I believe, an appropriate use for that. So, and it also serves the Public Works needs to potentially move that whole boat launch. So,
And when you talked about the money, the $35,000, whatever it was, what was that for specifically?
So the $3,500 estimate is to give us a basic conceptual, this is the property, this is where most things are, but it's not surveyed.
Right,
okay?
it's just a perimeter probably.
Yeah, utilizing all the data sources that are available to an engineering firm to collect that data and create an initial drawing. So
Yeah,
you couldn't
okay.
use it for exact planning, but you should be able to have a good idea of where things are.
Yes.
If you wanted to do the full boat survey, it's over $30,000.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
which we may choose to do for a portion of the parcel when we get down to laying out a road, if we want to lay in a road and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
We may have to do that kind of activity, like we're doing right now out on Greater Woods for that Woods Road relocation.
Yeah.
So,
And I will say, well documented on previous meetings, I'm still conflicted about having a road on that property
Yep.
because it was given to us for passive recreation.
Yeah.
A road is not passive, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
I'd be hard pressed to come up with a definition of passive recreation.
No motor. Does the
No
car
motor,
that
yeah.
the car that you're going to take down that road have a motor? Well, then I would say it's not passive.
Yep.
Yeah, because people would want to have their canoes maybe.
Yeah, and that's the problem. If we're going to build and that's been a discussion. If you're going to make a canoe launch, you're talking close to 800 feet to try to go from the road down to where we think the canoe launch would be.
Right.
And that on you're trying to drag a kayak or a canoe or something that distance is going to be difficult.
Yeah, especially if they have to bushwhack.
Well, a trail, we can make a trail.
Yeah, but that's not practical.
No, but Matt brings up a good point. I mean,
Yes.
passive recreation means no motorized.
No motorized.
So this idea of a canoe launch is one thought that could be done out there. There's also other things that we should be thinking about.
Yep.
Like-
Just having an established trail system that people can utilize to access the river, and whatever bridging we might have to do, so knowing where streams are and things like that.
Right, but that's-
This plan would help.
Having a trail system requires having some parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to
I
park
was just going to
along.
bring that up. I mean,
Right.
other areas of passive use have a parking area.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, a vehicle's entering that property.
How far is it from the current one?
From the Horse Hill one?
From the
From the
Severns
current
Bridge?
canoe
Oh.
port,
Severns Bridge.
Severance Bridge?
It's that quarter mile that we were
Yeah.
talking
Oh,
about.
quarter mile, yeah.
Because the boat launch is just on the other side of the bridge.
Of the other side, yeah, okay.
And, getting back to parking, there seems to be an area that may be, conducive for parking, but it's on the complete opposite side of the parcel. The laydown area now that is likely going to be eased to the commission after building's done.
Is on the other side of the street.
No, it's on the, one end of the Amherst Road, lot line, and the other end of the Amherst Road lot line. There's when all that gravel is
Yep.
picked up, there's still going to be some gravel there. A gravel laydown area turns into a gravel parking lot
Yep, well, no, absolutely.
pretty easily.
Yep.
But on the other side, it's hard to even get in.
And that would be the side by the river. The other side, where the,
No, so the eastern side is
The
where the
gravel.
neighborhood is going in, and the western side is closer to the bridge.
Right.
where
The old barn foundation.
Right.
That's thick.
And
It's heavily wooded.
and the boulders that are in there, that used to be rock walls or pens or whatever they were back in when that barn was being used. It's very difficult to traverse that area,
Mhm.
and a road going in would be
If it was there, right. So
Yeah.
that's why we need to get a contour. We need to get a plan that gives us an idea of what's really there, so we
Yeah.
can start thinking about, is it feasible or not?
Yeah.
We might get this and say, no, we just can't do this,
oh, yeah.
and that ends the conversation, so.
Well, let's take that step and go from there, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's lost money if we get an idea of what the parcel looks like,
definitely not.
No,
so.
So our motion should accept this estimate with some plus or minus money, and then the concept that we're going to pursue a 50% balance with DPW when this come July timeframe.
Okay, how does
Does
this
that sound
sound?
right?
So, Sharon, this is Gina, and I'm gonna make a motion to fund the cost of the basic conceptual data and initial plot drawings for tax map 4A, lot 002, known as the Ireland parcel, also known as Fields Farm, not to exceed the amount of $3,600 from Fund 53, with the intent of the Conservation Commission to ask the town DPW to reimburse the Conservation Commission for half of that amount. Does that work?
Seconded by Mike Boisvert.
All right, any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, it passes 7-0-0. Thank you, Jan.
Sure was a long one.
That was a long one.
That was.
Write it down.
That was very well done.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, Horse Hill. Did Peter talk to you about this at all, by chance?
Well, we talked about it at the meeting, at our last meeting.
I did not. I meant to print this out, and I just didn't print out a picture of the mailbox.
Black mailbox. I think it was like $11.
You know, can we get another one for BB Lane while we're getting that one?
Yeah. So my concept about this is we should probably think about if we're going to be buying mailboxes or whatever we buy to hold the maps. We should probably come up with kind of a standard, like we've come up with a standard locking mechanisms. We've come up with kind of a standard mailbox that we feel we can fit to every kiosk and every site, and that works appropriately. So I don't have a problem. I mean, obviously it's a mailbox. It's not that. It's kind of cheap money. But does anyone, do we want to go look and find a standard and say that's the one we're going to buy from now on, or not yet?
We don't even have a standard kiosk.
No, I know.
So, the one that we have on Conservation Drive works really well because it hangs under the kiosk.
Yep.
That wouldn't work at Post 14. So you kind of need it to
Okay.
fit the application. I think, anyway.
All right.
I saw the one that they put up there originally. Well, not there. 9. One of the other ones. And it just got, every time it rained, it got filled with water. So, that was
What maps?
not a good fit. With maps in it, right?
Ooh.
So you need to get the one that fits
The application.
the
Okay.
application.
Sure.
No. Peter's, I think, request was for us to fund it.
Mhm.
Right. So
Funded out of the 53.
I believe so. I don't think
Or
you.
Horse Hill?
Or Horse. I think. Yeah, it comes out of Horse Hill. I think. Does it now? For Horse Hill? For Horse Hill to spend that money, they need to come back to us. Isn't that their fund?
No, is it? It's the town's fund that was established by the
For-
town for Horse Hill.
I thought that was the one that people could donate to, though.
They
directly.
can, absolutely.
Right. So it still needs to come back up to us for.
But at the end of the day, we're the management authority for
Okay.
that Horse Hill, so
Right.
it should come through us, I think, my
Right.
opinion.
I'm fine with that.
So do I need to make a motion? Okay. Motion to approve the purchase of a new mailbox at Post 14 in Horse Hill Nature Preserve, not to exceed $15 from the Horse Hill Fund. I don't know if that is a number. No.
It's an identifier. That's fine.
Okay.
Second.
Right. So motion by Cindy, seconded by Matt. Any other comments and questions? All those in favor? Aye. All right.
Aye.
Passes 7-0-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, do you want to make another motion?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, over.
make a motion to fund a mailbox for the BB Lane kiosk in Greater Woods. Not to exceed $20, $15. How much do they cost? I have no idea.
I think it's
$20?
Okay.
from fund.
Oh, from Fund 53?
Second? Shouldn't be me.
Gina seconds the motion. Okay, any other comments and questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 700. Okay,
So you
any more mailboxes? Anywhere else?
My house, no.
You can talk to DPW about that.
Yeah.
They'll replace it.
You want me to get it, or you gonna get it?
Whichever.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
All right, old business. I sent that out kind of late. The seed didn't get away. I did send it out, but I sent it out very late. I don't know if anyone wanted to really look through the list of options for
Oh, for the-
for the seedling giveaway.
I like the Songbird Wildlife Package. It's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked all of it too. And
So-
except, I thought, only suggestion I had was replacing the American larch with gray dogwood when I looked at their list.
The gray dogwood.
I
Okay.
think people would like the dogwood better,
Yeah,
so.
I was. I try to mix them up year by year.
Yeah.
So we can add and subtract whatever you'd like. You would want the songbird package in lieu of. I think the songbird package we bought last year.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Okay, never mind then.
So
I think what's in here is good.
No, these are good. I like all of these.
okay.
I'm just, the songbirds
Yep. No, I know. We
like food.
that was last year's one of last year's packages.
And a lot of the wetlands also talk about songbirds.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had the wetlands last year, I think, too, right?
We did.
They were.
People like
It
to
was a little bit of a different mix,
Yeah, and
And-
people like that.
and
you know.
we went through. We went through pretty much all of them.
Yeah, you like it.
There was very few of those the ones
Oh,
left
there,
over.
there already is a dogwood in the native species package.
Yep. So you do not want to take away the larch then, or we can take it right out of there altogether?
What do you guys think?
I didn't think the larch was that pretty.
Yeah.
honestly.
Get rid-
Evergreens never go.
Okay.
So, do we want to get more dogwood to replace it, or just get rid of it?
So under the packages, you can't change those numbers unless you just buy a whole nother package.
Right.
So this is just. so
I
you
saw it, I
Yeah,
saw
so
it.
I'm buying 3 packages. In the 3 package, there's this. There's 5 in each package.
Okay.
So you'd have to
Yeah.
move that to a 4, and then that'd be 20.
Of everything.
Right.
But I saw it
The only-
on
the
the
only-
site, they had gray dogwood listed individually also, or something.
Looks like they're
Yeah.
starting to run out of things too.
But,
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
So if we went to 4 on the native species package
Get rid of the larch.
and get rid of the
larch,
larch,
yeah.
And you want 4 on both? Or it's 4 on
Nah.
one of them?
Just a native, right?
yeah.
Just a native.
Just for the native?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
It
would,
would be another 30, but minus 40, right?
right.
So minus 10,
All right, so we'd be back at about $400.
yeah. I think that's good.
And 25 more plants.
Right.
I think that's good.
I'll accept the motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that the MCC seedling giveaway, that we change the native species package quantity to 4 from 3 and eliminate the American larch.
Okay.
And
Are we going
What
to buy
else?
them?
Oh, and the funds for the seedling would come from Fund 53, not to exceed $420.
I don't know the shipping and handling off the top. Yeah,
$450.
it'll be 400, it'll be 400 and, I think it's $400 plus or minus the shipping costs.
Okay,
So,
we'll add 10% to that.
Yeah, go for 500.
Yeah,
not to exceed 500?
not to exceed 500.
Second.
All right, any other comments or questions?
Gonna be you.
No? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes 700. I will get those ordered.
You want to specify that the motion was made by Mike
Mike
and seconded by
will be,
Gina?
And second by Gina, thank you. All right, I'll get that, I'll get this going, and we can get those ordered, so we may,
Thank you, Gage. That's,
Yep. as you saw, that they're starting to run out of some things, so hopefully, they usually leave the packet, they usually try to keep the packages together first, so hopefully we get exactly what we ordered. We've not ever, only once that I remember have something being substituted, so, but we'll see. Cool, thank you. All right, other business. Subcommittee updates. We've had, just us, just Greater Woods?
yeah, so Greater Woods had a meeting last Tuesday, where we had a scout visit us. So we have pretty active property for scouts this year. We have possible benches going in. We have possible another observation deck going in, and we're still hoping and thinking that we might have interest in the outdoor classroom, but that looks less likely now than it did a couple meetings ago. So hopefully that doesn't fall through, but
That's gonna be a bigger project. Yeah, to make that a little bit more of a permanent structure, so.
But yeah, so two scouts looking like they're very close to coming to us with a final proposal, and then coming to this body with a proposal. So it's good on that front. We are also getting ready to do one of our spring cleanup days, trail days, to assess some of the trails and do some alterations. So if you're interested in volunteering, keep your eyes out on the website and at this meeting for the date. We'll try to post it as much as we can, and can't think of any other specific updates. Yeah, that's about it.
Love those Eagle Scouts.
Yes.
And the Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts did a good job.
The scouts in general,
Mm.
all the scouts.
All the Scouts. Especially the ones that sell cookies.
That time of year already?
How about my cookies?
Okay.
So we had a Horse Hill Nature Preserve subcommittee meeting a week ago, and we had a new personnel attend who I think is going to apply to be an alternate. He's out of town right now, so he couldn't come tonight, but hoping he's going to send in a letter of his intention and then come to maybe our next meeting in March.
Good.
Yeah, so that was good. We talked about how the new trail, the Summit Trail, will have to be added to the map at some point. And I believe we would have NRPC come out and map that, correct? So that it would be consistent with the other trails?
Yeah, we can give them a GPX file,
Mhm.
and they can add it from that.
Well, wouldn't we want them to use their equipment so that it's the same as the other trails?
They might loan it to us so we can
Oh, okay.
rent it out there, or they might want to do it themselves.
Yeah, but either way, but at
It's saying when we
some point,
giving them a file and having them add it is,
but
you
easier.
know, one level of expense, having them
Mhm.
come out and field day and their equipment
Mhm.
potentially is another.
Mhm.
So, where, you know, if it was a large trail, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is a pretty
Yeah.
small, little reroute that,
Mhm.
You can always see the old trail from.
Right.
yeah, really, so it might,
That's
we may get enough granularity with, you know, some type of handheld device that gives us a decent path, and we can always check it, we can always look at it and see if it works out well, if it doesn't,
Okay, no, that's fine.
you know, we can call them in.
Mhm. And we talked about putting up signs at some point, you know, maybe saying, please use new trail, because as we know, discontinued trail doesn't work, you know, to try and steer people over there. Vertical mulch, yeah, right. And
Best term ever, Matt, it really is.
yeah, it is good. And in talking about like the maps and adding the mailbox, someone also had the idea of maybe adding the, I'm probably gonna say this wrong, the QR, is it the QR code?
QR codes.
QR codes. And possibly even putting them on all the posts, you know, just small, the little thing. But so that if somebody gets lost in between the posts, you know, they can download
Suppose
something.
that if they had the map, it would give them a "you are here." It's an interesting thought.
Oh.
I can see if that'll work. Yeah.
Dog waste is always an issue, right, at Horse Hill, and I know, so it was brought up about biodegradable bags, and I believe we talked about that with Wildcat way back when. Did anyone ever get? You never got those, right? Because they were so
We never got them.
expensive, right?
Yeah, and they're not all that biodegradable, so.
Oh, okay. So they're not as good as
Well,
they sound.
They are, but they're not, yeah.
Okay.
It's not like a couple weeks it's going to be gone. It's going to be there for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I see. So we wouldn't want to encourage people to start.
Leaving their biodegradable bags
Hanging.
hanging around the property, yes.
Because you know it's going to be like
Right, yeah.
Right, okay.
hanging from a tree.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
About dog waste. It seems to me that a lot of people think it's okay not to pick up their dog waste if it's not on the trail. There's an ambiguous little slogan on the kiosk at Greater Woods. It says, please clean up after your dogs on the trail. I mean, literal people would take that literally, I think. And if they're just off the trail, they won't pick it up. I think something that's more specific would be helpful to those people who would just like to shrug their shoulders and eat it.
Well, could you give me a for instance? Because I'm not sure I exactly follow what
Yeah,
you want.
there's a sign. at
No, I
Great-
mean, what would you want? What would you want a sign to say? what would you, what
yeah.
Type
I
of,
would want it to say,
not verbatim. I'm just make sure I understand what you're asking.
clean up. I would just say clean up after your pet. Pick up all dog waste.
Okay. No, okay.
You could always be much firmer. You could say per town ordinance 79.2, you're required to pick up after your animal, which you are.
Right.
It's a violation of the town code to not pick up after your
Is
animal.
that the right number? 79.2?
No, I don't know what it is,
Oh.
but
I think it's gotten
something
worse.
like that, though.
Good
I
luck
think we
enforcing
have that up at Horse Hill. I
Well-
think it says per town
Well, the
ordinance.
Horse Hill has gotten worse, I think.
Yeah.
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 Well, we don't have many horses that go into
I
horse.
think at least if you have a notice,
Yeah.
you get rid of a percentage of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I remember hiking at Horse Hill probably, 6, 7 years ago and wrecking a pair of sneakers on horse poop, so.
Oh, yeah, sure, the horses.
It's worse than mud.
Oh, it's awful. Gets stuck in the treads.
Do you think that people should clean up after their horses?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
To get dismount
I really, really
and
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, that freezes, you'll trip over it.
Yep.
Oh. big mound.
I would say especially after your horses.
Yeah, because I've also seen it in the middle of the trail and
Yeah.
thought, oh, I guess there's nothing much they can do.
Yes, I
There
love
is.
this meeting because I'm going to be in a meeting in 2 days for the State Trail Advisory Committee, and if I said that, I would be
Yeah.
lynched in the parking lot
Oh,
by the horse people.
Oh, really?
Oh, they are like so against it. You can
Yeah.
eat it, and
Right.
for
It's
and-
completely biodegradable, it's,
Yeah.
Well, then they can biodegrade my sneakers, so.
yeah. well, At a minimum, it should be removed from the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they won't,
They can't see it because they're looking ahead
Yeah.
and the horse is behind, so.
Yeah, they go like constantly.
It's
Yeah.
what?
They go constantly, horses.
Oh, do they?
Oh, do
It
they?
seems that way.
Well, that's why when you see them in parades, they have this little baggie that hangs off their backside that captures it.
Huh.
Maybe the horse
They
people
do,
yeah.
should do
See,
that.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that. You say that.
Although,
we go for a little romantic chariot ride through New York, and there's a big bag of poop hanging right in front of everybody.
don't get me and Cindy started about those.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Attached to carriages.
Horse carriages,
That's not nice for horses. We don't approve.
Exactly.
No, I completely agree at Horse Hill. I mean, it's
When we walked out there,
out of control at this point.
that was, yeah.
You look off the main trail,
Mm-hmm.
the poop loop, the one that goes from the parking lot to the beaver pond,
Yeah.
It is.
and there's bags on either side
Yeah.
just hucked out into the woods.
Oh, God.
Yeah, what's with that?
So-
I-
And
I
it's a
think that's
wetland
far
area. It's a
worse.
marked designated wetland.
Yeah.
They're dropping poop in a wetland.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not
Signs
good.
would be good.
Mm.
Okay, well, we could
Well,
look at.
that could be a scouting thing, is the scouts could be out there handing out tickets.
Mark the poop loop?
Yeah,
I like that.
pooping violation.
Pooping.
Jeez.
I don't know what it is with people. Watson Park is always a mess.
Oh.
Down by the water, beer cans.
Oh, it is,
Oh.
That's humans, though.
Yes, human stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. God knows
Pick up
what else.
if your dog's drinking, pick up after
Pick up after you humans.
Yeah, right.
Good idea.
So one more thing. The question came up, does Eversource have any type of obligation to maintain the right-of-way?
Under the power lines?
Trying to remember, because I should know this.
Under the power lines?
Yes, well, as far as the way they are maintaining it, I guess. Like,
Well,
instead of like stacking up logs,
No, they don't.
Yeah,
They don't.
They own the property.
No.
Well, they don't have an obligation
They
for
own,
that.
they own a small portion that comes from
Natticook.
Natticook Road to Old Kings Highway on the east side of Horse Hill.
Hmm.
They own that
That's
section.
what you're talking about?
I'm not sure.
Further in, they have a easement,
Yeah.
which gives them
It's the
broad.
easement. But they could do whatever they want.
Yeah,
on
They
Yeah,
can.
basically.
One of them came to our meeting, council meeting sometime within the last 12 months and said that they ordinarily don't leave things stacked up unless they're going to be using it again, I think.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
as Tim said, they have broad latitude.
I imagine if there's a problem, you could always put a request in, notify them, and ask them to take care of it.
You could do
Sometimes
that.
the damage to remove them is worse than leaving them be.
Mhm.
Okay?
That's true.
And they also serve as small critter hideaway places.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure of
So-
that.
So you take that all into account, and they're probably doing the right thing.
Mhm.
Okay?
So-
It's unfortunate, it looks lousy for a while, but, if you had been involved when we first cut Greater Woods, well, we were the root of all evil. What we had done, it's a war zone. It looks like bombs went off. It was,
Moonscape.
yeah, it
It's
was,
a moonscape.
yeah.
The Greater Woods?
Yeah, oh yeah,
It
and people
looked-
hated us. People hated us.
Mike was one of them.
Yeah.
That's right, you were.
We still call the main road I-93. You know, the,
People hate us, and now we've had to cut back that road now 3 times.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Oh,
we've
yeah,
had
that is really-
we've had to mow those wildlife openings have been mowed twice.
Yep.
I mean, so it's, you can't tell what we
Yeah.
cut. You can't see the fodder, you
They're
can't see.
never going to forgive me.
You hated me.
I'm sorry.
There's a beautiful moment of forgiveness here.
I just love the smile on your face when we talk about it.
Should we make a motion to accept Mike's apology?
I second.
Yeah, I know.
Let's all be friends.
That's all we
Group hug. All right. Anything else to add, Cindy?
No, that's it.
All right, and we've not had any Wildcat Ball
I
meeting.
think I covered everything last time, but the things that need to be covered, we need to get a little warmer.
Okay.
There are things that I'll bring up once, snow and ice melt and gets a bit warmer.
Okay.
What did that groundhog see?
Winter.
Yeah, winter, 6 weeks.
I guess to cover both Horse Hill and Greater Woods, and Mike and I went out and with Gage and cleaned and did a little maintenance on the wood duck boxes on all the properties this year, and we adjusted a couple of them. One box 3 years in a row has come up with unhatched eggs, so we moved the box thinking that it was location. It's kind of close to the side of the wetland, so it's possible that a raccoon was getting on the box and scaring the parents away after they laid the eggs. But the hatchlings, I would say, are way down
Yeah, they were.
last year, this past summer,
Yeah.
than I've ever seen it. And it's probably the 10th year that I've done it,
Yep.
or been part of doing it, and I've never seen, especially Lastoka Pond, which has 4 boxes and has historically, you clean it out and you're just cleaning empty shells out of the boxes. This year, I think we had 6 in that whole pond, 6 shells that we could kind of, we were kind of estimating, but probably 6 shells in the whole pond.
Yeah, we threw away at least 10 eggs.
Oh.
So yeah, it might have been just the summer.
Well, here's a question, because on the other side, when you're reading through the forms and everything, they talk about the Merrimack water PFOA issues. If it's in our drinking water, it's in our wetlands water. Could this be affecting the hatchlings? Could this be one of the reasons why, the ducks aren't coming or the eggs aren't hatching? Could there just be contaminants in the water and, something to think about?
Maybe they're laying eggs, because there were
Yeah.
eggs and sign.
Mhm.
And I will also say that wood duck eggs, we didn't find a whole lot of them, but there were a bunch of those boxes taken over by other birds.
Oh.
I think some types of birds use them as like just a safe place, and they bring in their stuff. There were some boxes with more stuff in it than when we left them last winter.
Yeah, we're nests built on top of the.
Yeah,
box.
nests built on top of the.
Because I know starlings are notorious for taking over bluebird.
We need to put GoPros in these boxes
Yeah.
to find out what's going on in there, because
Yeah.
some of them are, you go in there and it's like, what happened in here?
What's a GoPro?
Not
Camera.
Emotion camera.
Yeah.
So
And we got one box that's under the water or under the ice.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna have to go get that in the spring or in the summer when it's.
and one that's just gone.
Gone?
So maybe a big critter decided that he wanted what was ever in there and yanked it off the tree and drug it up in the woods.
We know one critter that is able to do that with bird feeders.
Yeah, right.
I don't know that they eat wood ducks, but maybe they liked some.
Maybe they eat
Eggs.
the eggs.
Yeah.
They wanted an egg protein shake or something.
Well, are they too high for a fox or a coyote to get at?
They're in the water.
Oh,
They're in the pond. I mean, that's why we have to do them in the wintertime, because it's frozen, so we can get out to them. So when they're being used by the ducks,
well, the
they're,
bear can swim.
well, yeah. I suppose a fox can swim too, but I just don't think they would, I don't think they could.
Treading water while
yeah.
they're trying to
And
get
they're
out.
in there with 4-inch,
Screws.
screws. So to get it off the
Must be a
trees.
bear. Oh, they're
Yeah, I
gonna
don't know
fall.
what happened to that.
Yeah, one of the screws was left in there. Like,
Yep.
I don't know how they got it out, but it's gone. So
Wow.
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 It didn't sink?
no, this one was on
Yeah.
a little kind of peninsula, it's still in the middle of the pond, but the little, grassy area around it,
Mhm.
and
Nothing.
gone.
You checked all the way to the water too.
I did, yeah. Great. Right into the water.
Don't go there at night.
It was icy out there.
I bet.
It was icy.
Mm.
Maybe it was a human animal.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, the minutes, presentation of the minutes for January 22nd. Did everybody get a chance to read them? Cindy, Gina? Okay. Just checking.
It was
That
quick.
kind of covers everybody.
Yes, motion to approve the January 22nd, 2018 minutes with corrections.
All right, Cindy makes a motion.
Yep.
I'll second. Matt, second.
Seconds. All right. You want to start off, Cindy?
Sure. So on page 1, row 37, should be stated.
Yep.
Just add a T there.
Oh, seated.
Stated, yeah. On page 3, row 1, I think shouldn't that be walking bridge?
Oh.
And then on page 5, row 20, add vice before Chair Karen.
What line?
20? Would be Vice Chair Karen. And on page 6, row 5, it says Vice Chair, just add Karen. Vice Chair Karen, so.
Put the two together and
I know, yeah. On page 7, row 4, I think just to delete the 2 on. So it would say plow contractors, how to utilize de-icers. And that's all I had. Go, Gina.
Okay. On page. This one just on page 2, line 11. You guys can let me know if I'm reading this right. So Commissioner Karen asked for clarification, not all roof water is being captured. Just thinking, I guess that sounds all right. It just sounded a little rough to me. That not all roof water or something like that. We can leave it.
Yeah, I
Question mark?
no, I understand. I read that same. I had the same thing, but
Okay.
the not all roof water is being captured was a note on the drawing.
Okay.
It was on the stormwater report.
Okay. So then
So-
that's good.
It's almost like that should almost be in quotes or something, or some way to signify. But it was a note from the plan, from the stormwater plan.
Okay, so we'll leave it. Okay, moving on to page 3, on line 31, the word northernmost should be all one word. Also on page 3, line 33, at the end of that sentence, the word elliptical should be spelled ELLIPTICAL. Okay, on page 5, line 8. 24-inch layer of filter, should be, that be medium? It's right now it says media.
No, media, filter
Media?
media.
Okay. And then on page, also on page 5, line 10, which regulates flow, comma, and then outlet, so not output, it should stay outlet.
Maybe outlets. Oh,
And then outlets from the, yeah.
From the outlet.
Leave it.
Maybe that's what said.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
not
we'll
su-
leave that
I'm
one.
not sure what it says, though. What is it, what do we? It conveys over the existing.
It should be outlets, I think.
Okay. So just add an S to the end of outlet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then we went through the thing of low versus no phosphate, because there's 2 places in here where it says low phosphate. You want to just leave it as low phosphate? Must be.
Can you?
I'm
where-
on page 5, line 39 is one of them. Chair Perry noted the recommendation of the commission for loose use of low phosphate, slow-release nitrogen. So you didn't say no phosphate, you said low phosphate.
I believe we did, yes.
Okay. All right. On page 5, line 47, anything in excess of what could be managed on-site, get rid of that comma, would be trucked off-site. Page 10, line 17. I've always spelled ticks with a K. And ticks like, yeah, so ticks has a K on it. And on page 11, line 6, we should also add vice there, so Vice Chair Karen. And also on page 11, line 24, he agreed to do a snowshoe. I would add walk after snowshoe. And that's what I have.
I read this stuff and I don't see all that. I don't catch that stuff.
Anyone else got? Anything? I believe that Charles Morgan was here.
He was.
Morgan
He
was
was.
here?
He was in the audience.
So he was also, he should also be, he listed as also in attendance.
But if he didn't come
He
up,
didn't speak.
yeah.
He came and sat. He came and sat with Greg Michaels. He didn't really talk a lot, but he did comment.
Was his name on the list?
Um,
Or he just didn't
You're
sign
right.
in?
no, I think he signed in. I'm pretty sure he signed in. I just,
Yeah, 'cause didn't he talk about 2?
he talked about, well, he was here for item number 2, yes, for the vault storage. He spoke about the parking the cars.
I mean, I thought he talked about 2 projects. Maybe
That was
the-
Greg Michael. That was the attorney.
Mhm.
That he spoke
Oh.
about 2.
Oh, who were you talking about? Sorry.
Charles Morgan, who's the owner of Vault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
So I just think
Yeah.
he needs to be listed as in attendance.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
Morgan.
Yes,
And he's the owner of Vault.
yes. He's the owner applicant.
Very good catch.
And on page 7, line 3, Snow Pro is written out as snow and not S-N-O-W. Not S-N-O.
You sure? I thought it was S&O.
No, I thought it was too, and I was looking at the DES website this last weekend, and it's S-N-O-W now. So I think they've changed it.
Okay.
So I was under the same, I was like, well, I guess they have changed it. So that was my only 2 comments. Oh, that's not true. Page 10, line 8. That should be 1 cubic yard of gravel,
Oh.
not 1 cubic foot.
Ooh.
Here you go.
Hold on, I brought it in my pockets.
And also on on page 10, line 13, that should say rifle, not rifled. Air-powered rifle or bow. Rifled bow. And that was all I had. Okay.
Oh, Matt has.
So
Matt
we
has
have
a
a motion,
question.
and so.
Oh, he's got-
Oh,
I'm
you
just
have
getting
more?
ready. No, I'm just getting ready to.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
All right.
But you had something.
We had
I
a-
do.
We had a motion to, we had a motion on the table by
Cindy.
Cindy,
Yes.
and second by.
By Matt.
So, all those in favor? Accepted the minutes as they've been amended,
Oh,
say aye.
I have to
Aye.
abstain.
So, well, you don't have to, you can accept them.
You can vote.
You can vote.
Abstain, you can vote.
On the minutes?
Yeah, you can vote on accepting them. Would you like to vote, or are you going to abstain?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so the motion passes 6-0-1 with Commissioner, Counselor, I'm gonna get this wrong sometime, Jackie Flood abstaining.
Whatever.
Okay. We don't have any members of the public here left for public comment. So, any commissioner comments?
Nobody ever stays.
Cindy, any commissioner comments?
Nope.
Matt?
No.
Tim?
So we don't meet again until March, so between now and then is the Winter Festival, which some of us will be attending, I take it. The snowshoe walk that was gonna happen last weekend got pushed out to happening at 10 o'clock, 2 hours before the Winter Festival. Registration is still required if you're gonna attend. That way, in case something happens, they have a way to get a hold of you, i.e. the weather doesn't cooperate for a snowshoe walk like it hasn't lately, so just be aware of that.
And the date is.
The 24th.
If I come, can I just email you, right, like Friday?
No, it's all being handled by Parks and Rec.
Oh, by Parks and Rec.
This is a
okay.
Parks and Rec program, so.
That it? You
That's
good?
it.
Jackie? Any comments?
No? Oh, I would like to make a comment. That garage that we were looking over at, on DW Highway, he keeps that place meticulously. We've been having the farmer, occasionally the town center committee sets up at the farmer's market. It's always, and he's very generous to let us do that. And he's, well, it's just a kind of an impressive place. And I'm pleased to have it at that location. It seems like a good spot for him, too.
Good, thank you. Gina?
So George the dog is doing better, and he was wearing a Super Bowl shirt for Super Bowl. Yes, he's doing much better. So, and I don't know if he's going to be up for adoption. The week is come and gone, so, but I thought everybody would like to know, because whenever I post something on the Positive Forum, everybody's happy to see George, so. Just question for the Winter Carnival, is anyone else going?
Yes,
Yay!
the
Okay.
town center committee
Cool,
is.
okay, so I'll touch base with, are you going to?
I think I gotta
Okay.
double check.
So
my
we'll touch
calendar.
base and we'll figure out how to get the table set up and what we need to bring and stuff.
It's very formal.
It's very formal, I know that. It was formal last year too.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's it for me.
Mike, do you have any?
No comment.
Okay, I have no comments.
Motion to adjourn
Oh my
Second.
goodness.
All right, motion to adjourn by
by Cindy.
Cindy and a second by
by
Matt. So all those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0-0 at 8:24. Good night.